Well, hello, everybody. We are Montana Acting Studio and Casting.
Jared Broxman.
And Cami Mon. You were going to introduce me, too.
I don't, just go.
Oh, okay.
Just tell my ad-libbing, just go.
Hello, everybody. This is Montana Acting Studio and Casting.
Jared Broxman and Cami Mon.
And we are doing memorization techniques. This is season 1, episode 2. Hey, we're really excited. You know, if you are having a hard time memorizing things, this might not be the career for you to have, because that's one thing that you have to do. You have to be able to memorize. And you know, there's lots of different techniques. We're gonna show you some of our favorite ones, but there's a lot of different techniques out there. So one of the things that you do have to do to be able to memorize anything is to eliminate distractions. You cannot be having the TV on. You can't be having people talking to you, lots of different things. You have to really focus and just eliminate any distractions that are around you. Okay. One thing that you can do is you can learn a general and then get down to the more specific. Read through it a few times and just find out where it's taking place, who you are and who you are in the scene with, what your relationship is with them, what you want, what is your intention in the scene. A lot of times the intention will change. You know, you walk into a room and you're looking for your keys, and then somebody comes in and you know, somebody got hurt. And so then your intention is to, you know, go out and help them. So it changes. And then also find out what happened right before the scene started. So if you get those kinds of things in your head, it gives you a really good foundation to build on. Reading things out loud. When you're reading them, you can read them with a specific thing that you're looking for. You read it multiple times. One time you're looking for what characters there are, what your character is doing. Then you look for where it's set. Then you look for what the intentions are. And so you build that and the emotions that are in it.
Your mouth has a lot of muscle memory, and what has helped me is reading your lines, not acting them, just reading them over and over and over and over and over and over to the point to where you can't get them out of your head.
Yeah.
But that does take time. In a pinch, know the line beforehand in the scene, and then just sit there and write it out and just read it over and over and over and if you can cheat it, sometimes I've had stuff off camera, but to where I can just look at it as reference naturally, so that way I didn't mess up my line, and that way we didn't have to cut and redo the scene over and over and over just to speed up the process.
Yeah. I have this picture, and it has a little X right there. What I want you to do is just stare right at that X. We're going to do that for 30 seconds, okay? So ready, and go. Concentrate on that X. Don't let your eyes wander around. Keep focusing, even if your eyes feel like they're getting blurry. All right, so now look at just the white. What do you see? Do you see the American flag, red, white, and blue? If you were holding your eyes still enough, what you were doing is you were actually tiring out the photoreceptors in your eyes. Actually, the cones, they get oversaturated and then they get tired, and so they don't see the color that you were just looking at, and the opposite, the colors that are on the opposite side of the color wheel, that's what you see. When I'm doing my memorization, holding it up and to the right. So if you're standing up, you can hold your script to where you have to look up and to the right, or if you've got it on the table, you put it up in the right hand corner to where you have to look up and to the right. What that does is it actually logs it into your long-term memory, okay? And it really does make it to where it's easier to recall it later on. Now, with kind of the same idea as burning this into your eyes, it's kind of what you were doing, is I like to burn my sides into my mind's eye. And so I will look very, very carefully at each of the paragraphs to where it burns the image of that paragraph into my mind's eye. I have been able to memorize a 45-minute monologue. It was like 10 pages of typed script, and I was able to remember it for years. And when I would be performing it, I would actually be seeing those paragraphs in my mind.
See, I'm the same way. Like, I see the words in my head.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter how much. Actually, the more that I learn it, it gets to the point where I don't even see the words anymore. It's muscle memory from then on.
Yeah. And even just seeing the shape of the paragraph in your mind, you know where it is. I mean, I will have a page and I will know where on the page that paragraph is. I'm able to visualize that in my mind. And so that really helps too.
The way that I memorize is by repetition and muscle memory. Mm-hmm. I can actually remember and memorize and be able to perform fast songs. If it's hip hop or rap or just fast talking, I slow it down to where I learn the muscle memory and the way that your tongue is positioned and everything to where you can say it as slow or as fast as you can. Yeah. And it just flows. Yeah. So try that technique. That worked for me, and it really does help. Yeah. And it's also cool if you can learn a really cool rap song and then take it out to karaoke. And
he also does Johnny. What is it, Johnny Cash? I've been everywhere.
Yeah, Johnny Cash.
Oh my goodness.
Everywhere.
Yeah, that's.
Did you know most of the time I don't say half the words? I just make it sound like what I'm saying. I can't recite it to you right now. I cannot sing it verbatim without lyrics in front of me.
You can't get away with that when you're on.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah. Know the scene. And also, not only know your lines, but you need to know the gist of the whole scene. You need to know what the other people are saying. So, okay, say that you're in a scene and the person who is supposed to give you your cue, which is, it lets you know when you're supposed to talk, they don't say the word that they're supposed to say right before you're supposed to talk. That happens all the time. Yep. So you have to know the gist of what the meaning and where the dialogue is going, so you can know what you're supposed to say. And so that's where ad-libbing comes in a little bit sometimes. You know, sometimes they might have lost their lines.
You have to be careful though, and just know the production, the writer, the director, the producer. Some sets, they want you to say what's on here verbatim. Every single word, the way that they wrote it, as it's written. You can't change a word up. They won't, so it's, as long as I feel memorization is much easier when the writer and or the director is very, they trust your craft. They trust that you, as an artist, that you can hit all the main points that they want you to hit in that scene. And if it's some stuff's ad-libbed, it's more natural. As a performer, as an actor, you want to, a little bit of you is in that character. Yeah. And so if it's not something that you don't think the character would say so much, it can be challenging. Yeah. That's when it comes down to memorizing the lines to where you don't even have to worry about them.
Well, and it can be so frustrating being in a scene with somebody who notoriously goes off script.
Off script, or they don't memorize it. And here's the thing. When you're hired to do a job, you're hired to do whatever it is that they hired you to do, whether it's one scene, an entire movie, a commercial, whatever, anything with lines. Your one job is to show up and know your lines and deliver. That's it. Yeah. That's literally your only job as an actor. And if you can't come to set and have your stuff memorized, your creativity is going to be dull or non-existent. Yeah, we all can tell. And you're gonna be blinking a lot. There's gonna be a lot of gives that you don't have your lines memorized, and you get one shot And if you mess up that one shot, if you don't come 100% prepared and ready,
you won't get another job.
It is a very close-knit community, and we all talk, and that's just the way it goes. Yeah. You were hired to do a job, you didn't deliver.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like any other job. If you're hired to do the job and you slack and you don't do what you're supposed to do, they're not going to be recommending you for the next one.
And most of the time, they do give you enough time to memorize a script. Auditions, you got to just be on your feet, like with the cold reading and stuff. If you can get down a method of memorization, take the ones that we set in front of you. Look up your own. But that's the ones that work for us. Yep. It's time and time. How many plays have you been in over the years?
A lot of them.
A lot of them. So if you are mainly theater or you're doing nothing but theater, you got an up.
It is a very, very good background to have, theater background, because it helps you with learning how to memorize. It helps you in so many different ways. And really, to be a good film actor, having theater under your belt is imperative.
Oh yeah.
So if you haven't done any theater, go out and do some theater.
Yeah. Any kind of experience is good to learn your craft. I've been doing this for over 10 years, and I'm just now locking in memorization techniques that work for me every time. Yeah. Not one that works one time and another one that works another, but ones that actually work. Yeah. And it's rumor is Robert De Niro, he reads his lines at least 200 times over and over and over. Yeah. So that way it just comes out naturally. Yeah. Once you have it memorized, that's when the creativity comes out. That's when the reactions happen. You're not worried about, what's my next line? She didn't say the right line. Wait, is it her or me? Do I go? I don't know where to go. And then cut. All right. Yeah. And then
and something also to be able to remember your lines, not in the memorization, you already needed to have done the work to do that. But then when you're in a scene, or if you're waiting to go on, or, don't let so many different distractions get in your head. Okay. Make sure that you're, if somebody's over here jabbering, just say, can I chat with you if, when we're done with the scene? Yeah. Because you have to be able to set your boundaries and not let other people or other things distract you from what you're doing. And so, like you said, when you are prepared, when you have taken the time to memorize your lines, and it takes time, then when you get there, you're not thinking all over the place, and totally losing what you already had. Also, you're able to take more instruction when the director can see that, they did this. Then they might actually add something to you because you've got the script, you've got that down. So now they can say, okay, well, let's tweak this, and they can improve your performance.
What I've noticed is once you get a technique down and it works for you, I can't tell you how many times where they've added lines, they've removed lines, they've changed lines right before you're about to do them on set. They're like, hey, we didn't like that. We want to do this instead. So now you're like, everything that you've memorized, right? You're like, Once you get the technique down of memorization, your brain is almost, it's easier for it to memorize. So when it comes down to those last minute memorizations, you got to have that technique down pat to where your body knows it. And it goes, okay, I can bring and dump this line or this section, and we're going to replace it with this. And that's key, because on the fly, you got to be able to memorize things.
Yeah. Something else that you can do. So say that you have, there's a paragraph that has multiple items in there that you have to remember, and you need to have them in the right order, or you just need to remember all of them. One thing that I do is I will think, I'll pick one word out of each thought, out of each sentence that I'm trying to remember, and I will see if they're alphabetical. I will see if they, have some kind of relation to each other, if there's some rhyme to them, just find some kind of relationship that those items have to each other that it can help you remember them better.
Absolutely.
Okay? whether you like to sing, whether you're a good musician, singer, or not, one exercise that can really help improve your memorization is learning songs. Okay. And use the different techniques that we did. And I'll be commuting and I will take a song that I want to hear, I want to learn, and I'll just have it in my earphones. And so listening to it too, whether you record yourself saying it and then listen to it over and over and over, or just exercising the memorization techniques, whether it's something that you're going to be using on film or not. Memorize as many things as you can. Yeah.
And in a pinch, I've been in many situations to where I needed to memorize my lines. But I also needed somebody to read for me and to help me memorize my lines. What I actually do, I'm pretty sure everyone has a smartphone that has a voice recorder on it. Literally go through the section, the pages, the scenes, or whatever you're trying to memorize, and you read the other part, right? So the part that I'm trying to memorize, I'm reading the other person's part on my voice recorder. And I will do the line, and then I'll read my line in my head so it's quiet. So it gives me that space for me to actually deliver my lines. And I'll actually record the entire scene of the other person with my voice on my phone. And then if I'm driving, I'll push playback, and I will literally go through that scene and have a conversation with myself, but yet still learning my lines.
Yeah, you can have a lot of lines and within a short commute be able to go through all of them multiple times.
You got a lot of time in your car. Of course, don't be distracted. Be very safe when you're driving. Make sure it's hands-free. Make sure you're paying attention to the road. But we all listen to music, podcasts, the news, the radio, whatever it is. If you can just be driving and you can just be doing your lines like you're having a conversation with somebody in the car, then do that. Whatever helps you. There's no wrong way. There's no right way.
Just don't be reading your sides in the car.
Make sure you have them down pat to where you're working on the memorization.
That's your job.
That's your job. That's literally your one job, is to memorize lines and deliver. That's it. Hey, but thanks for watching Montacting Studio and Casting Season 1, Episode 2, Memorization Techniques. Episode 3, Cold Reads. See you in the next video.
See ya.
Cut.